Number two, part two of the week 11 preview here on the Audible Cecil, Lammey, Sigmund, Bloom, Chargers, and Jaguars. We're going to start with. We got a lot to talk about with Jacksonville. We got a lot to talk about with the Chargers, though, as well. Of course, Marion Hampton returned to practice, but he's not going to play in this one, Bloom, but he's getting closer.
Yeah.
That's the point there. And if I'm talking about someone who's not playing because he's getting closer, that means the guys that are playing, you better get it done.
Yeah, the Chargers, again, without Joe Alt, you can see this offense is going to shrink. But against Jacksonville, they shouldn't have to really stick their necks out. Jacksonville's down some key players in the passing game. So you don't want to hang Justin Herbert out to dry. He's still a low ceiling, high floor quarterback one. You know he's going to feed Lad McConkey. And Quentin Johnston's done enough to be a upside wide receiver 3 flex. Probably staying away from Keenan Allen because Ronde Gadsden left last week with a quad bruise, full practice. Boy, we love that. We love when we need a player, he leaves the game, and the next week, the first practice of the week. And this is a Jacksonville matchup, by the way. Dalton Schultz had a touchdown against them. Everybody for the Rams had a touchdown against them. They've really been giving it up to tight ends lately. So it's a great matchup for Gadsden. And look, I know Kamani Vidal has been in even weeks. This is your numerology lesson this week. In even weeks, he's been great. In odd weeks, not so great. Still put him back in. You would think that the Chargers are going to try to have a balanced offense like they did last week when he looked good. Not much is looking good for the Jags after they blew a 19-point lead to the Texans.
Yeah, on Jacksonville's side, of course, dealing without Travis Hunter now, waiting on the health status of like BTJ. And let's see what Jacksonville can do this week. And I had an idea, Bloom.
Oh,
It's a totally different show. I probably shouldn't do this right now, but
okay.
I thought Trevor Lawrence doesn't fit with Liam Cohen. You know who would? You know who would? Liam
Who?
Cohen, Mr. Redo first
Yeah,
overall picks.
Mac Jones.
Zach Wilson.
No. Oh.
So again, it's not for this show, but I just want to
Yeah.
get in front of everybody there. Like, think of Zach Wilson with Liam Cohen. What would that look like? Because it doesn't look good with Trevor Lawrence. Sorry.
No, it doesn't. And I mean, he's been let down by drops, et cetera, et cetera. But at least this week, Parker Washington likely to stay in the slot. We're going to watch this. Haven't heard anything affirmative that Jacoby Myers is going to move into the slot. So that makes Parker Washington a pretty good play. Again, showed some explosiveness last week on the punt return. Nice toe tap touchdown. And we've seen him get fed targets by Trevor Lawrence. Jacoby Myers is more of a what-the-heck flex to see if his role grows. And then Travis Etienne, hasn't had a big game for a while, but if Jacksonville can control, remember, both of these teams have winning records right now, 7-3 for the Chargers, 5-4 for the Jags. So playoff implications, a lot of games like that this week.
Yeah, a lot of games like that, including our next one. And this is get your popcorn ready because this truly could be NFC Championship. And well, with the state of the AFC, these two teams, one of these two teams might be the Super Bowl champion. It's Seattle and the Rams, dude. Oh
Ding,
my God.
ding.
All I want to do is watch this game.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Seattle side first, traveling to face the Rams. What do we got for the Seahawks?
And this is a game, these NFC West matchups at times have been defensive struggles. This one could be a 45-42 kind of game. Certainly, this could be an NFC Championship game. And like you said, Cease, really potentially a game that determines a Super Bowl winner. And it's only round one. We're going to see this matchup again. Sam Darnold, oh boy. Now you have Rashid Shaheed. And you have a healthy Cooper Kupp revenge game. I mean, look, this is one where the Rams said, you're not good enough anymore, Cooper Kupp. We're going to take the money we were going to spend on you and spend it on Devontae Adams. Wise move, but Cooper Kupp might be wanting to show, I've still got something left. Even the tight ends, I'm not saying to play A.J. Barner or Elijah Arroyo, but you already have the straw that serves the drink with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Now you have all of these pieces that can attack different parts of the field in different ways. And you have Sam Darnold, who's really in the zone right now. And you have the running game revving up. Ken Walker is looking healthy now and combative on his runs. You saw Zach Charbonnet even ripping off some chunk runs. Now, the game was basically over last week, but wouldn't it make sense? The hottest quarterback in the NFL is Matthew Stafford. How do you defend him? Keep him on the sidelines. Keep him on the sidelines. So what an amazing job that Seattle has done getting their offense and their defense really in the second year of the Mike McDonald regime. And hats off to John Schneider, because we don't usually see this when we have a new head coach at the end of a long regime, a Pete Carroll era, and the GM stays and you have success this quickly, getting both sides of the ball with Clint Kubiak coming in, decisiveness. And this could be a ceiling game for this whole offense. And another thing you've got to watch these here again. I said the defense, Devin Witherspoon's back. They've got a pass rush rotation where they can roll out there. DeMarcus Lawrence, who had 2 touchdowns last week. Uchenna Nwosu, who's an explosive pass rusher. Derek Hall is back. They have a pass rush rotation now that is also a handful. So Matthew Stafford, we'll see if he stays hot this week.
Yeah, see if Matthew Stafford can stay hot and see if Puka Nakua out there playing tight end. It's fascinating watching McVay's offense, and it's fun.
Yeah.
I expect this game to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and someone brought up for me, by the way, that as far back as 2021, Sean McVay said he admired Arthur Smith and that he studied his plays and that he really saw him as somebody that you could learn from. And what he showed this year is those tight ends, those 4 tight ends. You see, so they even just narrowed it down to 2. If we could just narrow that production down to 2 tight ends, we'd have some viable tight ends. Keep an eye on it, because if anybody out of this group gets hurt, Colby Parkinson, Terrence Ferguson, Davis Allen, who's more of a blocking tight end, and Tyler Higbee, there's so much production every week from these guys. And Devontae Adams, who looks like he's going to play, just check in. And, of course, Puka Nakua. Now, we're going to see Kyron Williams and Blake Corum. Is this a game where maybe the Rams, they're going to trick us, and both of these teams try to go ball control? Because the Rams, unlike Seattle, they have a defense that they probably want to hide. I'm not saying their defense is bad, but they're not going to be able to get as many stops against Seattle as Seattle's probably going to get against them. So it's so much intrigue here. 2 organizations that are showing the NFL how to do it.
How to do it and how to get it done. How to get it done on the flip side. Again, I think you said yesterday, Bloom, like it's a mini week 18, because here we go. 49ers Cardinals.
Yeah.
All right. So we just went NFC West. Let's go NFC West. 49ers side first. And of course, it's Thursday morning, full disclosure. We're waiting on the injury report. Who's going to play quarterback? Yeah. 49ers. We're kind of used to it now.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? The 49ers are still very much in it. We were describing, we were fawning over Seattle and the Rams. This has been a struggle. This has been a season of struggle for the 49ers, and they're still in it. Now, it sounds like at quarterback, it is going to be Brock Purdy as long as he survives this aggressive week of practice. So either we're going to get Brock Purdy or it's going to be Mac Jones for the rest of the year because Purdy hurt his toe in practice. Either way, this offense, I think against Arizona, you're going to see them go back to ball control when they can. They want to hide their defense. Remember, they lost Fred Warner. They lost Nick Bosa. Now they lost first-round pick Michael Williams, who was looking really good, or Mikael Williams. So I think you're going to see a lot of CMC. You're going to see a lot of Brian Robinson. Juwan Jennings is coming on. Ricky Pearsall did return to practice this week. Still putting Jennings in as a high-floor wide receiver 3 flex. You're still putting in George Kittle. But again, if they have it their way, they're going to throw the ball 25 times. They're going to run the ball 35 times maybe. And they probably are going to have an easier time accomplishing that because Marvin Harrison Jr. had to have his appendix removed this week.
Yeah. So Cardinal side of things, don't make quarterback decisions based on when your team faces Dallas. But Jacoby, you got another chance to go out there and prove no. It is the right choice.
Yeah, is he turning back into a pumpkin? Because last week he did have a good fantasy game, but that was only after he coughed up the ball twice for 2 touchdowns and the game was over. So, could that happen again this week? Maybe. He's not as attractive, even though his fantasy points makes it look like he's a really safe play every week. Michael Wilson is a player a lot of people are looking at here as, again, San Francisco's defense is a good matchup for fantasy production. So with Marvin Harrison Jr. out, Michael Wilson becomes at least a what-the-heck flex. And, of course, Trey McBride. Trey McBride might have like that kind of week that Brock Bowers had a few weeks ago, 12 catches, 100-plus yards. I don't know about the 3 touchdowns, but every touchdown in every single game with one Jacoby Brissett. Then you have the backfield. Bam Knight's practicing. Marty Mercado is clearly the best running back, but they don't want to commit to him. Michael Carter still has a role to play. And, I mean, if you're going to play anybody, it's DeMercado anyway, because you expect them to stay in pass mode. So, yeah, it's an NFC West showdown weekend, and those aren't the only afternoon divisional showdowns.
Yeah, divisional showdown up next in Baltimore and Cleveland, and I'm telling you, Baltimore get hot. Nobody wants to play them. They got a chance to be real hot against Cleveland. What's Lamar Jackson and company do?
They're trying to pull off the fantasy football maneuver. Just get hot enough to make it into the playoffs and then be the hottest team in the playoffs and bring down the title. I think it starts with keeping Lamar Jackson healthy. He came out of last week a little banged up. The Browns, Myles Garrett and company are going to want to get after him. So Lamar Jackson maybe doesn't have quite the ceiling, but last time out, I think Denzel Ward got hurt during the game, but he threw, I think, 4 touchdowns against Cleveland. So you expect this to maybe be more passing than running because Cleveland has had Derrick Henry's number. I'm not saying to bench Derrick Henry. I can imagine someone saying, some tough choices. I'm not going to stick my neck out and play like Kamani Vidal over him. I might play Jalen Warren over him because of the matchup or something like that. I can imagine some questions that make me think, but it's still Derrick Henry. You also have Justice Hill on the injury report. I want to see if more Keaton Mitchell. But, I'm not trying to get in the mind of Todd Monken, but if the Browns are loading up to stop Derrick Henry and held him to 11 carries for 23 yards in the first matchup, why would you not instead show them more Keaton Mitchell, show them more Justice Hill, who's a little banged up, show them more speed because they're gearing up to be the immovable object. Rashad Bateman, I think, is going to be out with an ankle. DeAndre Hopkins as a deep what the heck flex. He had a touchdown in the first game, couple long catches. Of course, Zay Flowers. And maybe this is a Zay Flowers bonanza game. We'll watch the tight ends. Mark Andrews is probably the better of the two. Isaiah likely can do more downfield. Again, if we think that Baltimore is going to anticipate the Browns loading up to stop Derrick Henry like they did in week 2, then it could be a more pass-heavy game plan. And, for the Browns, it's always playing for pride when you're playing the team that took your soul.
Yeah, and it's always playing for pride because it's Cleveland, and they're not really playing for much anything else.
No, Dylan Gabriel, this isn't the Jets defense. So play that Baltimore defense. What's coming on? It's amazing, Cease. There's things that we don't account for in football. The Baltimore defense plays well when Lamar Jackson's playing. Funny how that works. Quinshon Judkins, you're going to play him, but as a flex more because he can be flexed out of this game plan because of game script if the Browns fall behind. Maybe Harold Fannin, who was able to catch 4 balls last week. I don't know. Baltimore defense is probably the best play when Cleveland has the ball.
Yeah, when Cleveland has the ball, it's probably time to go to the fridge. Anyway, 4 games down, 3 games to go, plus our ever popular What the Heck flex. It is the Audible, Cecil, Lammey, Sigmund, Bloom. We appreciate you all for checking out footballguys.com. Please go there if you want to tip the show. Hey, go subscribe to footballguys.com. That's pays the bills. So we appreciate everyone out there for watching 20 years of the Audible this year. And we just like to say thank you. It is Kansas City. It is Denver. Interesting things going on the Denver side I'll get to in just a little bit. Likely no Isaiah Pacheco in this one. It doesn't matter anyway. You're going to go to Travis Kelce. You're going to go to Rashee Rice. I'll be talking to Vance Joseph later today to see what kind of plan or what kind of clues VJ would give us as to how you contend with Mahomes and company.
Yeah, remember last we saw Patrick Mahomes, the Buffalo Bills were frustrating him. The Buffalo Bills pretty much held this Chiefs offense in check. Now we saw the Buffalo Bills let the Dolphins come back to life last week. You're still going to play Patrick Mahomes, but certainly Denver at home in front of the crowd, you would want their defense to get the drop here. You have Kareem Hunt as what tech flex. Maybe the bye week allows them to get Rashard Smith involved a little bit more. I'm not saying to pick him up. I'm not saying to play him. Just something to watch down the stretch. Like you said, it's Rice and Kelce. I think those are the 2 complementary pieces here. Could we see Xavier Worthy finally break through with a deep ball? Maybe. I mean, he's a what the heck flex. That's it. So this is a really good test because we saw Kansas City, especially when Rashee Rice came back, especially with Patrick Mahomes finding his aggressive game again. We saw this offense look like they were starting to peak. But going into the bye, they stubbed their toe. And the Broncos are going to want to do more than make them stub their toe. They're going to knock them out.
Yeah, they want to knock him out. And with that undefeated record at home, there's certainly a lot of challenges here with the Denver Broncos side. Sean Payton doesn't want to talk about it. I don't think J.K. Dobbins plays. But that's not a mystery. I'm not revealing anything. It's just he has a foot sprain. It was a hip drop tackle that wasn't flagged, and he's got a foot sprain. It's J.K. Dobbins. Of course he misses time. And the Broncos, in my opinion, Bloom, aren't ready. I want to turn this into my daily 4-hour radio show, but yeah, this is bad. This is bad. Because RJ Harvey, now I did talk to Sean yesterday. He expressed full confidence in RJ as a runner while also not saying JK wouldn't play. Again, my assumption JK's not going to play. Sean always, no, I'm not talking about injuries. They bring back little Jordan Humphrey maybe to play tight end. Just put that in, he played 50% of the snaps last year, everyone. So there's something. It's more than just the blocking, but maybe he plays tight end for this team. Either way, Broncos have a different look. They've got Cortland Sutton, who doesn't get the ball enough. They've got Troy Franklin, who gets too many targets. And they're now without their best player in J.K. Dobbins. Oh, yeah, and Bo Nix is trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah, you're right, Cease. It's almost like you cover the Broncos because this is a crossroads game for this team. One of the stats that was pointed out that shows the riddle that is the Broncos is they have 8 wins and they're leading the league in punts. I mean, something's got to give, right? Bo Nix, we keep waiting for it to come. We're waiting. Second year, Peyton and Nix. How much was J.K. Dobbins putting this offense on schedule? How important was that? Of course, R.J. Harvey's going to be in your lineup as an upside running back too. I mean, there's just too much possibly there. Even if Kansas City gets the drop on Denver at home, then you're going to get a lot of R.J. Harvey in the second half. Maybe it's another miraculous fourth quarter. You got to get Cortland Sutton involved. You got to let this guy win one-on-one outside. That's one of the assets you have. That's why you paid him. And let's see it. Like you said, he's too much to Troy Franklin. Yeah, you've been using Franklin every week as a flex, and it's been working. Marvin Mims is back. We've talked about Pat Bryant. He's made a few plays downfield. You want to add some sort of downfield dimension that isn't forcing the ball to Troy Franklin. So, and like you said, even with little Jordan Humphrey, because Evan Ingram, that addition isn't adding anything to this offense. So try to find some recipe. You would think at 8 wins in week 11, you wouldn't be grasping at straws for an offensive identity. But here we are, Broncos.
Yeah, and here we go. Lions and Eagles, another one in the NFC where that popcorn will be ready or better be ready, your snack of choice, because Lions side, are they figuring it out with Dan Campbell taking over offensive play calling? Weird. Sam Laporta banged up. Again, we're Thursday morning, but Wednesday, Bloomy, DMP yesterday, top of my head, right? A DMP for Laporta. So, okay, let's watch it. I'm not saying Laporta's not going to play. We don't yet know, but that would lead to more Jamison Williams, right? Maybe more Jahmyr Gibbs. We'll see. But Lions, Eagles, again, can't wait for this one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if we have a divisional weekend of playoffs in the NFC that is Rams, Seahawks, and Lions, Eagles, sign me up. Where do we even go? Outdoor Goff, and not an easy matchup. Vic Fangio against Dan Campbell. Ooh, yeah. This is going to be fun. Goff has a high ceiling. Jahmyr Gibbs is red hot. Now, it is going to be, outdoors, a more stout defense. Dave Montgomery will get his chance to get going. He's at least a flex play here. Certainly, you would think that Detroit wants to run the ball 30 times in every single game. And I don't think this one is any different. Now, the question is, can they get that comfortable game script so they can do that? We saw more Jamison Williams in the short passing game last week. Expect that speed to get into play. We saw less Amon-Ra St. Brown. Less is still 5 catches and whatever, 80 yards and a touchdown or whatever he got. As long as Laporta's playing, you're going to play him. If not, then it's that much easier to keep Jamison Williams in. I don't think you should bench him, really. I think whenever the play caller changes and you see the usage change and the production come with it, then good things are brewing. And the Eagles defense, let's not take anything away from what they did to the Packers, but the Packers offense without Tucker Kraft is not good. The Detroit offense is good. Is the Eagles offense good, Cecil?
AJ Brown. Did I hear AJ Brown told everyone to drop him in fantasy?
Yeah. He's doing the reverse bloom. He's doing a reverse bloom.
So that means he's going to explode onto the scene. I don't need AJ Brown going on and on about that. Just go play, go perform, go win this game. They're good if they fed Saquon Barkley more. How about that, Bloom?
Yeah, so you're going to play Barkley. Going into the bye, we thought the run game's back. No, it's not. At least not against the Packers. Again, let's not take anything away from the Packers defense. Detroit's going to try to get pressure on Jalen Hurts. They've been very good at getting pressure on the quarterback, but that's not necessarily how you beat the Eagles. You stop the run, and then you neutralize these wide receivers. AJ Brown also has a very high ceiling. If it's close, put AJ Brown in on the squeaky wheel. Not to mention the game script. Not to mention the possibility of a high-scoring game here. And of course, Devontae Smith is Devontae Smith, who's the hero, and Dallas Goedert remains a high-floor tight end. If it's a high-scoring game, he may get a few touchdowns. See, if we could only get Dan Campbell calling the plays for the Eagles, and then we'd have a super offense.
Oh, you're too funny. Too funny, Sigmund. That would be awesome. Not awesome is Monday night Cowboys Raiders. Really?
Yeah.
Cowboys
Glamorous
All right.
teams,
I
uniforms.
suppose. Yes, uniforms,
Fan
fan
bases.
bases, yes, TV ratings. Unless you have YouTube TV. Why does ESPN ruin everything? Dallas side first, Bloom, and well, they should be able to get this one.
See, we're old enough to remember when ESPN was like a plucky startup. It was like a plucky little. They said they used to get confused with the Espanol channel because it was ESPN. They thought people thought it was a Spanish. You could actually see how like they had to make the sets and things like that. It's sad. ESPN used to have the spirit of like Conan, Late Night with Conan O'Brien or Late Night with David Letterman, and it's like, well, nobody's really watching, so we can do whatever we want, have some fun. Could this game be fun? Certainly, it could be fun because Dak Prescott is going up against a Raiders defense that we thought was solvable. Bo Nix couldn't, but I think Dak's going to be better. The matchup says this is going to be a massive game for CeeDee Lamb, for George Pickens, of course, Javonte Williams, of course, Jake Ferguson is a high floor tight end one with the possibility of scoring. So you're looking at a Cowboys team that is hopefully rested and recalibrated, and one that's going to have to ride its offense. And why this game could be fun on both sides of the ball is Geno Smith we saw last week it's Denver, it's on the road. So hopefully at home against a very generous Dallas defense, Geno can make some things happen.
Yeah, can Geno make some things happen? And Brock Bowers continuing just to be an amazing and awesome player, regardless of the matchup, regardless of the week. As long as he's healthy, Bloom, I want to watch Brock Bowers play football.
See, real quick. Did the Broncos do anything special last week to hold Bowers to one catch?
Well, for them, it's special because they suck at covering tight ends. But it's basically Jahdae Barron.
Okay.
Corner on him, athletic corner.
Yeah, so we'll see if the Raiders have something up their sleeve. Ashton Genty, this could be a game that Ashton Genty could just take over. We've seen him do it once already this year. If you're going to go down ticket, maybe Michael Mayer. This team wants to run a lot of two tight end sets. And if the Cowboys put their best cover guy on Brock Bauer, then that leaves Michael Mayer in good matchups. And of course, Trey Tucker and Tyler Lockett. I guess we should have seen this coming. Geno Smith reunited with Tyler Lockett. Both of these guys are like, they wrote us off. We didn't write back. So maybe Tyler Lockett as a what the heck flex. Trey Tucker could break a big play. And hopefully you get what you need as getting down to crunch time. Playoff brackets coming together. Time to make some moves. Don't sit back. Yeah, do something.
Sit up. Pay attention.
Yeah.
That's why we go over our ever popular what the heck flex. You look over your lineups, you need some punch. So let's talk about some of these guys, Bloom. My week 11 what the heck flexes include Kyle Monangai, Sean Tucker, Devin Singletary. Troy Franklin should be a what the heck flex, but he's getting featured like he's the number one receiver. He's not, but maybe that changes. They go more to Court. Court's like, everybody's selfless here. Yeah, but you should be a little more diva-ish. Anyway, just me. Demario Douglas there, and someone's got to catch the ball in Jacksonville. How about Jacoby Myers this week? As a what the heck flex, you look over your lineups, Bloom. Who are those players that you are deeming worthy of what the heck flex?
Yeah, only 2 teams on bye, but as we said, it wasn't a great waiver wire week back on Tuesday, so you might be having to go what the heck flex. Tyler Algier as a what the heck flex, continuing to be the goal line back. Amari DiMercato, we talked about. Tyjae Spears, coming out of the bye, maybe he's more explosive. He can do a little bit more. Chris Rodriguez is going to play, much to the chagrin of George Krosky Merritt teams in Madrid against Miami. Jordan Mason, remember, it was Jordan Mason getting on track, which is when the comeback really started for J.J. McCarthy against Chicago in week 1. Nick Chubb, because maybe Nick Chubb gets the garbage time. He looked pretty good on his runs against Tennessee last week. A lot of wide receiver sleepers. At the top, I want to say Wan'Dale Robinson. Wan'Dale Robinson with Jameis Winston. How nice is, and we'll see about Darius Slayton. How nice would it be to be Wan'Dale Robinson this week, knowing you get to play with Jameis Winston? Parker Washington, we talked about. These are guys that they're not totally what the heck flexes. They're more like wide receiver 3 flexes. You might be underestimating them. Mac Hollins with Kayshon Boutte out against the Jets. Luther Burden, let's watch and see if DJ Moore is going to play. If not, he's a what the heck flex. Again, Cooper Kupp in the revenge game. DeAndre Hopkins with Rashad Bateman likely out. He had a couple of big catches against the Browns. Mentioned Trey Tucker and Tyler Lockett. Malik Washington has caught some touchdowns from Tua Tagovailoa. Washington's defense is bad. And then we mentioned Michael Wilson. You can get him right off the waiver wire, put him into your lineup. I hope it's a winning lineup for everybody. But mostly, I just want to thank everybody for joining us every week. Thanks if you can hear the sound of my voice. You help us keep going. I hope you keep going in part because a little oomph you get from Cecil Lammey and Sigmund Bloom and the Audible. I get to say it, Cecil, 20 years. I'm just proud to be part of something that lasted 20 years.
Feels great, baby. It's awesome. Go out and dominate. He's Sigmund. I'm Cecil. We are the Audible. Follow Sigmund on the socials at Sigmund Bloom. I'm at Cecil Lammey. The show is at the Audible, saying thanks for watching. Stay tuned. And would you please stay frosty?